He took us to Mexico. That's why we're warped. Don't tell him you know. I know you went to Mexico. I know you went to Mexico.
What is up, YouTube? This is my dad's Factory 5 Shelby Cobra. Sometime we're going to check this out here in the near future. My dad's hanging out. Today, we are going to rebuild the front two-piece rotors of the Z1 Motorsports ones with the Akebono kit. And we're going to be adding two-piece rotors to the rear because right now I have stop techs. So the the Z1 Motorsports two-piece rotors are going to save me 10 pounds overall in the rear, 5 pounds per side. So that's going to be kind of a nice little addition. So we're going to do that with some stop tech pads. Let's hit it up. If you've never done your front brakes before on your Q50, Q60, that's two 19mm bolts holding that caliper on. And as far as rebuilding the Z1 rotors, this is my OEM Z1 two-piece rotor. It's 10 pounds lighter than the factory. However, it's time to be rebuilt. It's getting near 40,000 miles. It's still pretty smooth. However, I just kind of wanted to replace all the brakes at once, pads too, and since I'm adding the rear rotors, just bed everything in at once. So I'm going to show you what you do to add the new ring on. It's pretty simple. We're going to take out those bolts. I got new bolts with Loctite in a bag here, supplied by them, and we'll put this ring on their little center hub bit, and it should be 90 foot-pounds for all the bolts with Loctite, and that's that. My dad's searching for the 10mm right now. Such a rook. You gotta keep like 5 of those things on hand. Everyone knows this. Come on, old man. Alright, so once you get that separated, the only thing holding it in is this little back sides. I'll pop these out. Kind of just. Alright, once you separated that, just pull all the old ones out. And then we're going to put the new ones and put it on the ring and just torque it all to spec. Alright, just pushing these in place. Okay, that's in there. The next thing we're going to do is put Loctite on these bolts and just thread them in from the other side. And then we will get it all torqued up. So my dad's just showing how to apply the Loctite. Just one bolt, just one tiny drop to each one. Yep. And then we're going to push it in on the other side. Here's the fun part. You got to just Loctite them. Hold up the disc because if you lay it flat, these pieces might fall out on you on the back side. Just thread it in one by one. So that's the last one to this. And now we can focus on torquing them down to 90 pounds each. These are all 10mm bolts. Let's do that. Cool, so my dad's just gonna give me a hand in tightening this, starting with this one first.
Snake, are you okay? Snake? Snake!
So I probably had some miscommunication with one of the guys over there. I thought it was going to be 98 foot-pounds bolt snaps. It's actually 98 inch-pounds, which my torque wrench doesn't do, and I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get that done. So let's see, maybe we'll just do it by hand and pray for the best. I really don't know how you're supposed to rebuild those yourself without the correct kind. This is what else we got instead. So this is a sketchy job because I just can't guarantee that it was all put on correctly because I did it by hand. Took them off by hand. I put them on by hand. Not super tight because the Loctites can do the rest. Just measuring up to 98 inch-pounds. That's interesting for sure. So if you guys are following along, this is also how you change the brake pads on the Akebonos. This thing is super dirty. However, you'll see these little pins in here. What you want to do is get in here and pull this pin out. And you'll do that to the bottom one also. And then that'll loosen this piece. and then we'll be able to take out these two little rods here that are both Phillips. So let's do that.
See what you're doing, boy.
Got one out. Can you put that down? I don't need it. I don't need it.
You don't need it.
It messes up my camera lighting.
Oh, yeah. What a
So you pop the little pins out, two of those, and then the next thing you're gonna do, there's a Phillips here on this side. I'm gonna pull that out. What I like to use is this little punch tool. That way you can push it out from this side. Get one of the bolts out. And down here to this side. There we go. And then now, pull this piece out. This is gonna go back in there. Just lay this down flat. And here's your brake pads. Really good. Just with some standard brake cleaner here. And then I'm gonna wipe them down with a microfiber towel, and I have some ceramic coating that I wanna put on them. That way they wash off easier, so I'm gonna get to it. Call me OCD, because I am. I'm just gonna put some of this on the outside of the caliper so it stays nice and clean when I wash it off and doesn't build up with residue as frequently. So I'm just gonna, and then I'm supposed to spread it with a microfiber towel. After that, I'm gonna kind of just let it sit for a second. I'm gonna do this a couple times until I feel confident that it's actually covered with enough of the ceramic, and then take it from there. Next thing you want to do is we're going to push back the pistons on the inside of the Akebono. So just going to take off my brake cap reservoir, because that's what my dad recommended.
Displace air. Fluid goes back in.
So we did that, and I have this really awesome tool that I picked up. Let me show you how it works. Okay, with this in here, you just push it up against it and squeeze. And with each squeeze, it pushes the pistons in. Pretty awesome. I highly recommend this tool. Okay, now we're gonna clean both sides of the rotor before we put it on. You wanna kind of use gloves if you're gonna be touching anything that's gonna be touching the rotor or the pads. Just highly recommend that. Plus, if you're using brake cleaner, gloves are a great idea. So, I'm gonna clean it up. Okay, stop check pads. The rebuild kit here. Get your grease on the backside of the pads where the pistons hit. I'm trying to explain to my dad that I don't want to use the stop tech pins because they don't have a Phillips on top like the OEM ones, which that comes in really handy when you need to kind of turn this to get these little clips in. Because the little clips sometimes have to be turned, and you have to turn this orientation to get them into that little hole. So, I'm going to show you why I like these pins better. When you push this in here, if it won't go all the way in, you get your little Phillips end, and you push it in to clip it in like that, and then you can twist it in place to line up the pins. I feel like the StopTech one is kind of a faulty design sense in that matter. However, we're not going to use it, not a big deal. Okay, quick little tip. This side is done. When you're lining up all the pads and everything like that too, be sure you have your rotor snug down with one lug nut. It just kind of helps align and center everything, and keep your caliper. I kept my caliper kind of loose, and then I torqued everything up after I had the pads in. So now we're going to jump to the other side and knock that out real quick, and then get to the rear. This is the Z1 two-piece sprinkled slotted. It's going to be 5 pounds lighter, so that's a plus. So we're going to go ahead and knock this out right now. Okay guys, so looking at the StopTech rotors I had, up close there's these weird like hairline cracks maybe forming. I'm not sure if I can get enough light to kind of look at those. See those? Yeah, you see that? So anyways, it's time for these bad boys to go. They're definitely warped. They kind of shake on the highway.
He took us to Mexico. That's why we're warped. Don't tell him you know. I know you went to Mexico. I know you went to Mexico.
Stuff. So this is a 19. This is what we need to take off the rear rotors. Okay, so we got it mounted up right now. These are identical to the front brakes, just mini. So you're gonna do the same thing, just pop out the pins, little clips, pull the pen out, pull the brakes out, do everything just like the front and get it done. Okay, rear one's all done. We are going to now jump over to the other side, finish it up, and then bed in the brakes. All right, brakes are installed, embedded them all last night. Just got everything seasoned and ready to go. I'm gonna get some driving impressions with these two-piece rotors on later this week. So far, it takes off a lot easier in eco mode right now and with full EV mode engaged. That means without the engine kicking on, it takes off, you know, with less throttle input without the engine kicking on, just the batteries powering the car, which is cool. Looking forward to getting lighter wheels to see if that would kind of help that aspect. Also, haven't really tested acceleration too much. We'll do that this weekend with some 0 to 60s and whatnot with the Draggy to kind of compare it to how it was before the two-piece rotors. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this content installing and rebuilding the Z1 Motorsports rotors. I hope you guys have a fabulous week. If you like this, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification so you get notified when my new videos come out, and I'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.